What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO, episode 52. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the future class of video games. Blessing, Adioye.
What's up, Greg?
What I want you to know where my mind went, all right? Because Bear goes, all right, everybody ready? Yeah, okay, I'm starting the intro's rolling. The intro's going, right? And the first thing I think of as the intro's rolling is, what if, Blessing, I went to intro the show and all of my teeth fell out like chiclets? What would you do? I'm worried about what you would do, not what I would do.
I don't think it's a bit. I don't think that you're fucking with me, first and foremost. And then, probably a few minutes in, when we realize that, oh no, his gums are really just what's left.
Yeah.
That's when I'd be like, oh no, we got to do something. I started.
That is, I've thought of that as well. Like, that is definitely the reputation I have, that it's going to be like a Red Fox thing where I'll, especially in home quarantine, where I'll have a heart attack and fall out of my chair and everybody thinks I'm doing a bit, and it takes 5 minutes before anybody actually hits up Jen to tell her that I'm dead in the other room. That's
my number one fear on Kind of Funny content, since everything we do is live for the most part.
Yeah.
And so if you in particular, if somebody else did something crazy like that, I might worry. But if you in particular did something that was so fucked up and you passed out or fainted or I don't know, spontaneously combusted, I'd be like, oh, this is a funny bit that Greg's doing. I appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah. I've said it before and I'll say it again, just so you know, if/when I die on camera, I want them to air the episode. I want the views. And I don't know if that's legal. I don't know if you can show somebody just fucking croaking. But you know what I mean?
Sure,
I don't want to.
Who's going to stop us?
Make the money. You know what I mean?
You think it's against YouTube guidelines? Much worse stuff is happening on YouTube.
I don't know. We would have to look at YouTube rules and shit. Because didn't one of those dumb idiot big YouTubers get in trouble
Logan Paul. But he went. That Logan Paul went into the suicide forest.
Yeah,
which is a different thing, right? I'm talking about if I just go down, right?
And that was the exact thing that came into mind when I mentioned that dumber things that happen on YouTube, or much worse things that happen on YouTube. Not that I'm not compare the two. But we could get away with it. And if we can't get away with it on YouTube, there are other platforms that we can host it on.
Exactly.
You think Dailymotion cares?
No, Dailymotion, there's no rules over there.
No. And we do have your strict permission, so
again, that's why I reiterate it all the time, because you know how it is. You say something on camera, you forget when you did it. It was years ago. Nobody knows what's going on. I want to make sure I refresh this every so often, but I want you guys to be able to monetize, not even my death, even if I just have a heart attack. You know what I mean? I think when Jerry the King Lawler had a heart attack on Raw, terrifying, but I was glad I was able to, and that was live too, so there you go.
Oh really? How'd they handle that?
It was super upsetting and scary, because it was that he had the heart attack right while commentating a match, so the match is going on and they're like, and you hear him go and he's breathing really hard, right? And then Michael Cole is his partner obviously went dead quiet, because he went to private comms to be like, something's wrong with Jerry, fucking get out of here, whatever. So then it's just this awkward quietness, and you could see him when it first happened, he slumped over, but WWE's a bunch of professionals, so they then adjusted the shot so you couldn't. But then I was here in San Francisco, and it was happening obviously on a East Coast timer, and so it wasn't live for us, how they live to tape for the West Coast. I had to get a bootleg streamable link to then watch somebody else's feed of what was happening, and eventually Michael Cole came back and was the King seems to have suffered a heart attack. He's been taken backstage. He's going to the thing. Out of respect for him, the rest of the night will be done without any commentary. And Michael Cole had a rousing speech of just fight King, blah, blah. And it was oh my God, to see them dealing with their friend's tragedy in the moment scared me even more than just reading something bad had happened. But of course, King's fine. And he's a Cleveland Browns fan, so he's been having a pretty good time.
Oh yeah, man, that's crazy. Woo! I never knew that happened. Congratulations, Cleveland Browns, because that was
I tweeted about it this morning.
That's the takeaway. That's crazy. I didn't even know that happened. Anyways, congratulations to the Cleveland Browns.
I tweeted out this morning it's weird, because I never considered myself a Browns fan, just because they've always been absolute ass, and my stepdad was into the Packers and stuff like that, so it was actually fun to watch a team that actually won games. The Browns have only gone to the playoffs twice in my life. 2002 and this year. And this year is the furthest they've ever been into the playoffs in my life.
Wow.
Just to give you a taste, I've been around since 95, baby. And the Browns have been just absolute ass ever since they came back to Cleveland.
It's similar to how the Cubs a few years ago went on to win, was it the World Series?
Yeah.
Yep.
before that, like
against the
growing up in
Cleveland
Illinois,
Indians, which was that hurt a little bit, but
growing up in Illinois, we had a running thing where we would just make fun of the Cubs because they were always known as a terrible baseball team.
I mean, we did that for sure in Illinois, bless, but so did the world. They were the lovable losers everywhere. They weren't. It wasn't just. It was a well-known thing outside of Chicago. Yeah. The Cubs sucked.
Yeah, you always love to see that. Now, is there, in the vein of like the Jerry Lawler Lawler stuff, is there anything that you're like afraid of that could happen live? Because I like, even if it's like something that might not, like something that's likely not to happen. Because for me, always in the back of my mind, I don't know why this is a specific thing, but I'm always scared of getting a nosebleed live on camera.
Okay.
Because that's something that I deal with a lot. Like depending on what the weather is and like how I'm feeling in a day, I can get nosebleeds very randomly, and it happens very frequently for me. And that's like one thing where if it just happens suddenly, one, it's very plausible for me, but then also like I guess I wouldn't know what to do, right? I would just say, hey, I have a nosebleed, I'm gonna step off for a second.
Yeah.
But like there's still that fear for me.
No, I'm not worried about anything.
No?
You know what I mean? I think at this point, anything that happened, like if I just vomited right now, right, and everybody broke it out, like everybody be like, oh my God, look at Greg Miller's vomiting. Like, oh yeah, I hate Greg Miller. No, I already know he's weird and I like the content. This is weird and fine, or I just don't even care. I know who Greg Miller is and I don't care. It'd be fine. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm old. That. You're the future class. You have so much to lose. I'm invulnerable now, is what I've been told.
I've been
I can say or do anything on camera. Nothing can stop me.
Not like being on camera, but like I've like worry about like what's going on in the rest of like the apartment. Like, is Andy okay? Is he safe? Like if he's dying in his room, no one's gonna know because he never leaves his room.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that's
the thing too. You'd find his body when he missed that one stream, and we were all like, oh man, do we have to call Barrett? Yeah. Like that's a shit you put on you. You got to knock on the door, no answer. You walk in there he is dead. All his chibi figures fell on him.
Yeah, and then like Lulu runs in, eats all of his goldfish. You know, it's gonna be.
Yeah. Then you got a dog sick too. That's even worse.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And she loves goldfish. He keeps feeding her goldfish.
Well, I mean, that's why he likes her, or why she likes him.
Yeah, oh God, I think Andy is Lulu's favorite person ever, and it hurts a little bit.
Yeah, that's rough. But you have to be the disciplinarian, right? So I mean, like that makes sense. Andy's just a cool uncle.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you might be saying, why are they talking so much about Andy? How can they bring this back to this show? I'll tell you. In the YouTube live chat right now, which of course you can watch if you're on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, Ray Hayes says, man, Greg is looking like Miller from The Expanse right now. Lol. Yesterday I dropped off a care package from Kind of Funny fans to Andy, and he said, literally as I handed him the box, he just goes, when you get back in the car, Google Miller Expanse. And I did. And so there you go. Yesterday they said, I was looking like, hold on, I gotta block my face, right? Is that it? There it is. Yeah, look at that. Looking like Thomas James. There it is. It's just the hair. It's just this long strip of hair I have. That's it. I don't look like Thomas James.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying I look. I'm not saying that. It's just the hair.
I guess that lines up.
But Andy and Ray think it's true, so that's how it's got to be. Ladies and gentlemen, this is PS I Love You XOXO. Each and every week, Blessing and I come together to nerd out about all things PlayStation. You like that because you like PlayStation, so you hang out. Remember, if you like this show, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Of course, you can support us there and ask us questions on the show. You can get the show ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post show we do each and every episode. You could be watching live just like Demetrius Newell is, Chance Carter is, Adam Vogt is, Game Jumper X is, Madeline Stanley is, and so many more. Of course, there's a huge influx of new people in there due to the fact we just had our 6th anniversary and did all our Patreon stuff last week. Remember, new streams, new hires, new shows, all sorts of cool stuff is happening. Blessing, doesn't the Blessing show debut this week?
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. The Blessing show comes out on Thursday. So far, it's had a good response because, of course, it's available right now on Patreon. It's been available since day one. Day one of Kind of Funny. What is it? KF it. We'll do it live. Part of the new year, the new slate of content. Check it out this Thursday. If you're unfamiliar with what the Blessing show is, it's basically a video essay series. Video essay or an 8-episode pilot season that we're doing. And so look forward to it.
Look forward to it. Yeah. You can get it right now, like we said, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. But if you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. You can get each and every episode of the show with ads, no post show, Tuesday morning, 6 a.m., youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and on podcast services around the globe. each and every Tuesday morning. No matter where you get the show, please consider subscribing, sharing it, leave a little review, do all that stuff. It really helps us out. Some housekeeping for you. As I said earlier, remember a bunch of stuff's happening in this here January. You can get the Blessing Show on Thursday, but you could go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames right now and get Roger Pokorny's stream highlights. He took 1 week, the first week of Kind of Funny streaming for at least 2 hours every day after Kind of Funny Games Daily and boiled it down into one amazing recap video that's just 15 minutes long. You get that youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. We want to thank our Patreon producers, Julian the gluten-free gamer, SanchoWest Gaming, and James Hastings. Today we're sponsored by Hims, Upstart, and Honey. But for now, let's begin the show with topic of the show. Blessing, you put this into PlayStation updates, as you often do. But I thought there was just too much meat on the bone here. We got to chew on this for a while. And I ask you, is Killzone dead, Blessing?
Is that the question? Do I answer it?
Not yet. Let me read the story, all right? Why are you trying to jump into the show so fast? You know what I mean?
I mean, those pause. I felt like
I was fucking with you. I baited you. I got it.
What do you think? This is your show?
Come
on,
Bear. High five. That's what I'm talking about.
Sorry.
You put this story in from PlayStation Lifestyle. This is Zarmena Khan. Does Imran Khan know them? Are they related? That'd be cool. Wouldn't that be cool?
I feel like that's a pretty common last name. That's like
no. This isn't me. This isn't the normal thing. Oh man, Greg's being racist. I'm saying I'm actually pitching. What if they were a sibling video game news duo? That would be awesome. I'm not saying
that would be great.
I'm pitching a series here. Anyways, Sony has officially retired the Killzone franchise's website. Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced that it's retiring the official Killzone series' website, and visitors will now be redirected to PlayStation.com. While this change doesn't affect the game's online modes, players will no longer be able to create or manage clans in Killzone Shadowfall. A notice reads, Dear Killzone.com visitor, the official website for the Killzone franchise has retired. Going forward, visitors to Killzone.com will be redirected to PlayStation.com. While this change doesn't affect the online multiplayer modes, player statistics or ranking data for Killzone Mercenary and Killzone Shadowfall, it is now no longer possible to create or manage clans in Killzone Shadowfall. We apologize for the inconvenience. Thank you to Killzone.com's many fans and visitors throughout the years for their enthusiasm and support. Sincerely, Gorilla. Back to the article. This development comes a month after internet sleuths noticed that Killzone had been left out of PlayStation Studios' official webpage. In the Our Studio section, Sony lists all of its first-party developers and the video games that they are known for. When it comes to Guerrilla Games, the only title listed is Horizon Zero Dawn, and there's no mention of Killzone anywhere, a strange omission. Blessing, what do you read into on this here Killzone.com death story?
It's interesting because I think it does lead to the question, is Killzone dead? I think a more interesting question would be, should Killzone be dead? Do we need Killzone? And I know, I understand, right? Every video game franchise has its fans. Killzone obviously has a following. People love Killzone. But for what Guerrilla Games has evolved into and for what PlayStation Studios as a whole has evolved into, is there room for Killzone specifically? And then also, should we make room for Killzone? Is there any requirement for Killzone? Is there time for Killzone? What's the point of having Killzone in 2021?
So then let's start at the top and just go from they're closing down the Killzone.com part. Joseph writes in and says, Hi, Greg and Blessing. Hope you're doing well. I think people are putting too much attention on what seems like a unification of PlayStation.com. If you look in their top recent games, they don't have a separate domain. Last of Us, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima. I guess only Uncharted and Gran Turismo have separate domains, and maybe Uncharted is going to be the next to go. They'll probably keep GT since it's tied to FIA stuff. I don't know what that is. FIA? Is that some kind of racing thing?
Fast. Probably. I'm not FIA. Fast in action.
Oh, fuck. Regarding Killzone, it's the same we have seen where they move on to the next big franchise, and it may come back later as part of other studios taking the reins and bringing new things into it, as it happened with Sackboy last year. With Horizon being as awesome as it is, I think it's the best for Guerrilla to keep pushing towards new things, and maybe someone else can make Killzone shine in the future. Thanks for all you guys do. Keep up the good work, Joseph. So it is an interesting one of how much do you want to read into the dissolution of a .com. Obviously, I don't think Killzone.com is getting that much use. However, the fact that they call it out here, right? Hey, that means you can no longer create or manage your clans. That was a big part of Killzone. I do remember for Killzone 2 and then going into Killzone 3, I was running the IGN clan, and we were all over that website doing stuff and, you know, using your stats and stuff like that. So the removal of it, while it is just, okay, sure, why have Killzone.com? Why not just have it go to PlayStation.com? You're removing functionality from the game, thus showing you, I think, that there isn't much of a Killzone multiplayer audience right now in Shadowfall.
Yeah.
That's going
and
to
like
do that.
in 7 years is a really decent time for an online community to like, you know, come up and then sunset. Like Killzone Shadowfall came out in 2013 at launch, and then Killzone Mercenary came out, I believe, before that. And so it's not crazy that they're shutting down the website after not having a Killzone game for so long. But I think, yeah, what's even more interesting is we've not had a Killzone game for so long, and the article also points out, right, that like they haven't really included Killzone much in their marketing recently. Like that's not a game that they talk about, and I think the obvious reason there is when you think of Guerrilla, what we think of is Horizon Zero Dawn now, and I think that's what PlayStation also wants you to think when you think of Guerrilla, because that is the way forward for that studio. When you look at games announced, right, Horizon Forbidden West is the game that's coming out next year, or this year actually, because we're in 2021. Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy.
Yeah. And so that's the thing that we have to look forward to. And I'm sure they're not thinking too hard right now about what's even after Horizon Forbidden West. I would be shocked if that was Killzone, because what is the back to my original question of should there be a Killzone is for what Killzone was. What it started out as on the PS2 with the release of Killzone, of the original Killzone.
Yeah.
It came out pretty much as like a competitor to Halo. You know, that's kind of what it felt like. It was PlayStation's answer to this big first-person shooter. And, you know, as the years went on, we got games like Killzone 2 that people were a fan of. But we also got Killzone Shadowfall, which wasn't terrible by any means, but like
it was a fine launch game.
Exactly. And so with that, it's like, all right, when we have games like Horizon or a franchise like Horizon, and we have a studio like Guerrilla that can continue to make that or continue to have new ideas, do we really want to go back and work on Killzone, which has had such a shaky history and like pretty much fulfilled its purpose that it had at the time, a purpose that I don't think really has the same, I guess, level of importance nowadays. Because what's the point? Like, I guess the question is, does PlayStation need a shooter franchise right now? And I don't really think so.
No, I'm very much in the camp that I mean, I would have stopped Killzone probably long before Shadowfall, and you know what I mean? Like, I think Killzone isn't a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but Killzone it is that Mean Girls meme, right? Of stop trying to make fetch happen. Like, Killzone was something they were always trying to make happen, and I think you want to talk about how crazy it is, but when they showed that Killzone 2 footage, right, in quotes, footage, and it turned out it wasn't real, and that became Killzone. That became the legacy. That it was this game that was a fine PlayStation 2 shooter, whatever. It was trying to compete with Halo. It was trying to give you something like that. But even then, like, was that so revolutionary and crazy that it needed to go? And then for Killzone 2, the story became, here's this game that wasn't what it said it was going to be. And it didn't matter that Killzone 2 was great. Killzone 2 was a good game. Killzone 2 is that incredibly rare. I got into that game shooter where I was playing that online again, it's Greg Miller time. So it's like I was playing it online for like a month and a half, 2 months or whatever it was. But I mean, I was every night getting in there and doing it, which I do not do with first person shooters. I did that here, and that did stick. But it was exactly what you're alluding to, that it was a different time. And it was a time where you felt like you needed your own exclusive shooter. You needed your own multiplayer game. You look at how successful PlayStation is right now, and it's especially even not even PlayStation 5. Look at PlayStation 4. It's the fact of, oh wait, no, we don't. We don't need to be everything. We don't need to have our own thing. We don't need our own Smash Brothers. We don't need our own Halo. We can let third parties who are passionate about that and have this audience and want to be the best-selling game like COD, right? They can come in and they can fill that gap, and we can make exclusives. And because we're, for whatever reason, somebody buys their PlayStation 4 and now PlayStation 5, we're quote unquote the best place to play. We're going to run away with it, and we don't need to. If we worry about our own exclusive library, that backbone leads people buying the consoles, and then they buy the third party stuff that we're trying to compete with anyway.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you. I think for me, the one reason I would see to bring back Killzone would be if Guerrilla was like, hey, we miss doing Killzone, and we have a cool idea for it. Like, we have something different we want to do with it, or we have something dynamic or a story we want to tell. I think that would be the case of, all right, yeah, let's see where this goes. Because I think for what Killzone is and what it has been, I think it's just been void of a particular vision that felt worth it. You know, like nothing about Killzone, especially Shadowfall. Like Shadowfall very much felt like a response to, all right, the PS3 era had a lot of games that were colored in shades of brown and gritty and realistic, and we're taking advantage of HD, and you're gonna have a shooter and you're gonna fight the Hellgas or whatever you do in Killzone. Killzone Shadowfall felt like a response to that in terms of, hey, we're gonna add all this color, and that's what we're gonna do. Like that's gonna be the thing that brings Killzone to the next generation.
And that wasn't enough at all, right? And that was the idea, is that Killzone Shadowfall, I agree with you, was a direct response to the criticisms of what Killzone looked like. But what it kept doing is kept building out this world that who the fuck knows what's going on anymore. Like I think I distinctly remember Killzone 2's ending, and it was on a cliffhanger that we got to the final boss dude and we weren't going to kill him, but then Rico did kill him. And then it ended with him dejected on the stairs and like and it was like that is legitimately everything I just said. All I remember from playing. I played Killzone 2. I played Killzone 3. I played Killzone Mercenary. I probably did it in 5 minutes or something at IGN for Killzone PS2, and Shadowfall I played at events, but never played a full thing. It was just like, why take you're nailing it of like, what is the vision of this game? How would you sell someone on Killzone? And the idea was like, it's a competent shooter and the multiplayer is fun. And so then there's this story. And again, you want to look at like a product of the times and an old idea of just like, it is this fleshed out single player story. And then it is also this multiplayer suite. And you're trying to chase all these things. And none of anything I can think of right now off of any of the other games, even the best portions, you put that together, none of that in 2021 is going to compete with Warzone. None of that's going to compete with Black Ops. None of it's going to compete with Fortnite. Like these are the games that people are being dominated by, right? And Warzone doesn't need a story because that's not necessarily, that's definitely not what Nick Scarpino, who is addicted to it right now, is looking for. He's jumping in and doing that. And so if you have somebody who's built better mousetraps, why are you even trying? I think that's my thing. And that's why I say that, yes, Killzone is dead. And granted, video games, something being dead is only dead as long as somebody wants it to be. But it is dead and it should stay dead. Like there's just no reason for it right now. Unless what we're saying, somebody comes in and like, you know what? The Hellgas are so iconic that we are going to do a Killzone and we're going to do it from the ground up, brand new story. This is what it's going to be. But even then, I'm thinking in terms of what would maybe even interest me, when in reality, are people looking for that kind of first-person shooter, this narrative-driven adventure, blah, blah, blah? Like, you talk about the Call of Duty campaign every year, but people quick and go play the multiplayer.
Yeah, that's my thing too. Is like when I do like a good first-person shooter campaign, but I also get that from other developers. Granted, I guess now Bethesda, which would be my go-to company when we're talking about first-person shooter campaigns, because I love Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, and the Wolfenstein games. I guess now like it's up in the air in terms of whether or not they're going to continue to develop games on PlayStation 5. Like we don't know that for sure, and you can even throw in like, Deathloop seems like it's going to be less of a first-person shooter compared to those other games, but still first-person game. Ghostwire Tokyo, who knows if that's gonna be first person or not. But we are losing some of those games on PlayStation, and so who knows? Like maybe years down the line, there is kind of a thirst for a first person shooter campaign, like a really good one on PlayStation. But I think that time will also come when it comes. Like right now, it doesn't feel that way. Like I don't feel like that's necessarily missing from the library.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. We talk all the time about sequels and fandom and IPs that are on ice waiting to break out. I mean, look at Perfect Dark over on Xbox, right? People, even if you didn't love Perfect Dark 0, have been, oh man, I'd love another Perfect Dark. I love that thing. I don't hear that about Killzone. And I there was a time for sure when I was at IGN and we were on the precipice of Killzone 3 and that was going on, where there was the PlayStation contingent that fucking loved Killzone. But I don't hear people clamoring or asking for it. I see Resistance a lot. I see games that either were gone before their time or started getting good in the end or whatever. I see them talked about a lot. Killzone had so many at-bats that it's just, and again, I'm not trying to shit all over Killzone and say it's not good. It was good, arguably great. Like they were solid, but they just weren't, they were that almost that AA space I talk about all the time that's fallen away. Where it wasn't this AAA, oh my God, everybody's playing, you got to be it. But it also wasn't this indie thing, which of course didn't exist back then. It was Sony's AA shooter. And when there's so many AAA shooters, when there's so many amazing games out there, why would you go back for that?
Yeah. And like, I'm with you that I hear people talk about Resistance more than Killzone. And even in that case, I don't necessarily think Sony needs to bring back Resistance, even though I think it'd be a fun thing. Because I've had friends in the past that have been like, oh yeah, Resistance co-op is fun and all this stuff. And I'd tried and fell off of Resistance. And I would have loved to try the co-op. I just never got around to it. But like I've at least heard that from friends and like heard people talk around that in a way that Killzone, I didn't have that same thing. I've seen people online talk a little bit about Killzone and how they liked Killzone, I think 2's multiplayer and like different elements of those games. But overall, it does seem like a franchise that's had a rocky history. And I'll go for it.
No, please go.
Well, in a world where PlayStation did come down on the decision of, hey, we do want to greenlight another or a first-person shooter game or campaign, or whether a campaign or multiplayer or both. In a world where they're going to do that, I'll like something ground up that's entirely new, because I wouldn't compare Killzone to a like you said, right, Perfect Dark, which has had people clamoring for it. Like people were looking forward to a new Perfect Dark game in a way that Killzone, I think, with its history, just hasn't had that same level of fervor, because there's not like really a Killzone game that we look to as like, hey, this did something for first person shooters, or hey, this sparked such an iconic memory for me playing multiplayer first person games in a way that Call of Duty or Perfect Dark or other first person shooters have with people. And so like if they were going to do that, they were going to greenlight a new first person game, you know, I would want something completely new as opposed.
Now hear me out. Oh, sorry, Kill Warzone.
Please go.
Just think about it.
Please go. No, I think, you know, you're right, and that's the biggest problem. Is I think it's something I got off track on my own about, where I'm talking about like games people clamor for, a new Resistance, a new Perfect Dark. There's actually a spark there, you know, that could turn into a fire. Killzone's name, I don't think works in its benefit. I always talk about, oh man, the old adage of just like, if you put a number on a game, it's going to sell better than the last one, right? That for a popular game. I feel like if you were to drop a new Killzone right now, either it's going to be, you have no idea what Killzone is, and you haven't heard people talk about it in a positive way, so why would that resonate? Or you drop it and everybody's gonna be like, oh, like just like, what the fuck? Where are we at in that story? What was going on? Like Radic was a thing. Like Radic was in PlayStation All-Stars, right? Like what is this guy fucking doing? Where are we? And what's like, you'd have to start from scratch. But even then, if you're doing that, why not start from scratch with a brand new IP? Why put somebody on top of that?
Exactly. Now, if you wanted to put your game developer hat on, PlayStation comes to you. They're like, all right, we have to do it. This IP is on ice, and it's either we kill it forever or we shine new light on it, or we give it new life. We're coming to you, Greg Miller, because you're the PlayStation guy. We know that you appreciate this, the legacy of these games and all this stuff.
Yeah.
What would be your pitch for a new Killzone game?
So I don't get to. Okay, I thought you were gonna ask if I kill it or do.
I mean,
I would tell them not to do it. I would tell them not to do it. You know what I mean? But if it is like, no, we have to do it, I'll be like, all right. I think, well, actually, you know what? Let me bring in one of the questions here. Bandwagner, Alex, aka Alex, writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can. It says, if PlayStation was going to dip into Killzone again, my hope had always been that they'd use the franchise to tell an incredible sci-fi story through the vehicle of an FPS game. With how much time has passed since the last game in the series was released, I don't think they need Killzone to do that. Either way, that sci-fi first-person shooter combo seems like a great addition to the first-party library. I think Alex is on the money. That would be my thing of like, cool. Everything about Killzone from before, forget about it. Like, we're not doing that. We're starting from scratch. We're not doing it in this. I don't like. God, I should have looked up. I should have brought up a Wikipedia page for what the fuck.
I couldn't tell you one thing that happened in Shadowfall.
It
was colorful.
Did it start on Earth and we went after Helghast? Did they invade? Here we go. The series is set in the 24th century, showing the galactic war between the Interplanetary Strategic Alliance, the ISA, and the Helghan Empire. The Killzone series follows a continuous war between the ISA and the Helghast, taking place on both ISA Earth colonies and the planet Helghan, the home of the Helghast. All that shit I would throw the fuck out the window. You know what I mean? Like, I like this idea of let's do a sci-fi shooter. Let's do a sci-fi space shooter, but like it's near future. You know what I mean? Where it is some kind of the first generation of space marines or whatever the hell it is. I would do that, and I'd want it on like space stations, and I would want that kind of combat, and I would want it to be more cerebral than more this. And like at the end, maybe like you have some enemy that has the red eyes and has the helmet, and that's what you're doing. But I think all of that works so much against it, where like you'd have to toss that in at the very end as the unseen, even though you'd probably guess it was going to happen at some point, but like no promotional materials with it. Like even right now, like if you Google Killzone video game, which is where I went to get this, right? And you look at the box arts all laid out here, all you see are those glowing red fucking eyes, which for Killzone 2 maybe was cool. But looking back now at like Killzone 2, Killzone 3, Killzone Mercenary and all these things, and then Killzone Shadowfall with one red eye, it's like, what the fuck was this? Like, what are we even doing? You know what I mean?
Like
Like
that game was like first person shooter, the game. And like, that's all I've ever thought of as Killzone.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, it just had no, even though, this isn't Guerrilla not trying, and this isn't there not being lore, and it just didn't have a soul because it was meant to be the first person shooter. And I think it got away from everything else. That's why if I was going to do it, sci-fi shooter, story first, we are telling a narrative. We're trying to do, maybe even you go third person shooter and you try to make it into what Resistance Retribution, or just in general what Sony first parties are doing right now, what they're known for, right? Like, hey, let's tell a really narrative awesome game, and like, I don't, you're talking about the Killzone you're in, but as we do all of this, it's just shoehorning it around a name, right? I feel like that name has so much fucking baggage that why wouldn't you just dump it and do something different?
That's the thing is like Killzone isn't, in terms of a name, it's not God of War, where you see it. If you saw that on screen at an E3, there's not really going to be a pop for it.
Sure, yeah.
Even if it is something dynamically different, because if they're to go down that route of let's redefine what Killzone is, and let's even make it a third person shooter to like really drive home that this is something new and fresh. Even if you did that, I could see that reveal of, oh, okay, what's this? And it's like a third-person sci-fi shooter. They're in space doing all the Killzone shit. I can see the audience being like, oh, what's this? This seems cool. And as soon as that Killzone name comes on screen, I think the two responses are, oh, or like, oh, well, I don't really care about Killzone. And then like people ignore it. If I was to bring it back, I think I have 3 different ideas. 2 ideas that I think would be a little bit exciting, and then one that would maybe be the money-making idea. The money-making idea would be to put out a free-to-play shooter that is called Killzone. That is
interesting,
like maybe what Barrett said, right? Kill Warzone, is that what you called it? Either that, right?
Just
make a Killzone battle royale, or a Killzone shooter that is free to play. That way you get into the hands of the people, and maybe you can rebuild from there. But
I mean, more than likely what's going to happen is it's going to drop, right? And it's going to be subpar. It's not going to be on par with everything that's going on with the other free-to-play shooters that are out there.
Exactly. And like, I 100% agree with that. And then my other ideas would be to either go your route, which would be in my head a Wolfenstein route of, totally like take like the core tenets of this franchise in terms of the genre and the ideas and all this stuff, and totally just like work from the ground up and create a new story that is very focused on telling a narrative in the way that the modern Wolfenstein games are, because I think those games are fun. And like the stories they tell are very, like, feel very much like what does a first person shooter look like in a modern era? First person shooter campaign look like in a modern era? Yeah. On the other end of it, you could go the Doom route, which in my head I see as go all in on gameplay and say fuck it to story, because how many people do care about the story, and go all in on making Killzone a fun ass first person shooter campaign and give it to somebody. I don't know who you give it to. For some reason in my head, Housemarque comes to mind, because I see Housemarque is great at making like making gameplay. Like, they know how to make a fun playing game. Make Killzone an arcade shooter.
That or Arrowhead. The multiplayer game we all liked, that was them, you ran around, shot stuff, you dropped in. Arrowhead, fuck, I don't want to look it up. It's a very easy look up. I'm not gonna look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up as you speak. I won't say it.
Oh fuck, it's right there. I liked it a lot. It was bugged out. It was Vita PS3 crossplay, PS4 crossplay. It was Vita crossplay.
Yeah, I know.
You take your save with you. Helldivers got there.
There you go.
Fuck yeah. Woof. Because I always thought that Helldivers could have easily been just branded Killzone. You could have just changed the name to Killzone, and like whatever, you're dropping as ISA people on this world and going off and doing this stuff.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd be totally down for that. Like, when we see the gameplay trailer for that, and you have a Killzone game that looks like either a Helldivers or something that is developed by Housemarque, or something that looks like modern Doom, right? Like, even if you want to go all the way and make it very obvious that we're going for the Doom thing, because like right now Doom is the only game that is doing the Doom thing. If you wanted to go and do that, I think that'd be exciting. And
see, it's interesting to me. That's how you're taking. It's not wrong, and I mean, obviously, there's no wrong answer on how you would do it. When I'm talking about the first-person story first thing, I'm thinking of like a Dead Space now, and now Callisto Protocol. Yeah, right. I'm thinking of that kind of thing where it's cerebral, scary. What are we gonna do when we're behind a gun? But we're Marines, I guess, so we're a bit empowered or something to that effect. But I like these, the different interpretations you could do with it and where you would take it. We had asked the audience, of course, as usual, you're all way too supportive when I ask you a question like an hour and a half before we're supposed to record the show. If PlayStation should kill Killzone, if it should be let go. Nano Biologist wrote in and said, yes, not letting properties go is Xbox's current issue. Keeping developers on a property too long keeps them stale and has talented leaders and developers leave to try new creative ventures. Killing Killzone will let the developers come up with the next great PlayStation property, like Guerrilla did to make Horizon Zero Dawn. And I think that can't be overstated, right? And this is what I always talk about when I talk about Horizon Zero Dawn, is that as somebody who covered Guerrilla for so long and, knew Herman and knew folks over there and, talked to them about Killzone, I knew they were talented. I knew they were creative. And I would hate being on a Game Scoop where you'd say something about Killzone and be just dismissed of, PlayStation shooter, right? And it's like, it's more than that. So to see the industry really finally get to look at Horizon Zero Dawn and be like, oh my God, Guerrilla's really talented. That was awesome. And I think Nano says it really well of, you can't keep people on the same stuff all the time or you do lose them. And there is that brain bleed.
Yeah. I think one of the exciting things about Sony first party right now is that there are no kill zones in that exact sense of, you don't really have games that feel like they're sticking around because they are churning these things out. Like every project that we look at, from Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost and Horizon, like all these projects seem like projects that either one, people love and are selling very well, or are projects that the developers very much want to work on, which is awesome. And like something that I don't think we really could have said as strongly at the beginning of the PS4 generation compared to now.
100%. But then, should they kill this? The new game writes in and says, absolutely not. It would be a shame to end the Killzone series, even if some of the games have not been generally well received. I was hoping for a Killzone comeback after the release of the Horizon sequel, but I suppose it's not looking too good after the shutdown of the multiplayers for 2 and 3, and nothing has come since the release of Shadowfall and Mercenary. I would be very sad if they ended it for good, with no chance of revival. While the story and the series are good to average, the multiplayer is what stood out to me the most, and I've had so much fun with those. That's the big thing of sitting down, and I think you would have to sit down and have that whiteboard weekend-long conversation of what is Killzone and pound at the center of the board. What is the core of Killzone? And I think if you go and talk to a bunch of different PlayStation people, you run into a bunch of different answers. I guess we'd all come back to the multiplayer of Killzone 2. Like, that's what it is. But I just think, especially with crossplay and especially with free-to-play and especially with just the unending amounts of games demanding your attention, the need / want / desire for PlayStation to have its multiplayer. This is our first-person shooter multiplayer suite that we want everybody in. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, and it's so weird too. Like when you look at the exact thing you just said, right? And you look at how multiplayer games have kind of evolved over the generation. You see Fortnite, right, being this crossplay thing with a battle pass and all that. You see Rocket League doing the same thing. You see you even see games like Halo Infinite, which isn't out yet, but when it comes out, it'll be out on PC also, and you imagine it'll be crossplay on Xbox Series X and Xbox and on PC and all this stuff. PlayStation can't really do any of that because the platform is so closed. And if you have a PlayStation exclusive multiplayer game, like, by what it is, you can't really have that be cross-play or cross-gen, or even like, I guess free to play, you can do that if you want to, but like you don't have that same level of openness as you have with other multiplayer games, which I don't know if that puts PlayStation in such a weird place, because PlayStation doesn't need to make multiplayer games because other people are doing it on the platform. But
they're doing it, and that's where people are going to play it.
Yes,
that's you know what I mean. It's not like they're trying to catch up from behind here, where it's like they can sit there and be like, all right, well, Call of Duty is going to be the best selling game, and people are, based on install base, going to be playing it on our stuff. What do we care?
Yeah, exactly. And so like when that is the case on the PlayStation side of things, is like why I'd make a multiplayer game.
Agreed. Blessing. Agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. I'm going to call it January 11th, 1:46 p.m. Pacific time. Killzone is dead.
I agree.
May it never come back. May it never come. It'll probably come back at some point, but and it'll be great, I'm sure. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess that's the question to end down here. Do you think you'll see Killzone come back, and if so, when?
I mean,
it's a tough one, right? Because
a tough one.
My knee-jerk reaction is, of course you will. Video games always come back. No, nothing's dead. Blah 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 blah. But then you sit here and you really think about it, and it's like, well, I'm thinking of a very 2008, 9, 10 industry. In 2021, it's only getting more diverse. It's only getting crazier. It's only getting more competitive. That's the other thing. It's only getting more competitive. No, I doubt you walk into Worldwide Studios right now. You sit down with Herman, of course, from Gorilla, but now leading Worldwide, and you pitch your game to him. I can't imagine if he looks at it and he goes, this isn't not even a guaranteed hit. It's not going to be guaranteed great. It's not going to be an awesome game. They green light it. And so then you have to imagine what they're going to sit there and go back and forth with Killzone on to figure out what they could do to make it stand out and pop as the first-person shooter you need to be playing.
Yeah. And I have the same knee-jerk as you, where I want to say yes because everything comes back eventually. But there are so many games, and I think Killzone died in an era where it can get lost to the shuffle more, in a way where we look at games from the PS2 era or the PS1 era, or even going back before that, like the Super Nintendo era, and like people clamor for Earthbound because Earthbound was great, but then also like so many people had that experience with Earthbound. So many people had that experience with like all the games that we see die and come back or get rebooted. You know, God of War was defining for the PS2 in a way where, and God of War is defining, but also was a very good game. I think that's the thing I kind of come back on is Killzone. I don't think people really look at Killzone as this masterpiece franchise. People see Killzone as another first-person shooter franchise, you know, and we have memories of it. People have nostalgia for it, but I don't think it's one people go to as like everybody needs to play Killzone. With that being the case, I can't see any reason why you would bring back Killzone in the future. And so I'm going to say no. I don't think Killzone ever comes back. I think it's dead.
It's a bold prediction, but I could definitely see it. I could definitely see it going, because again, like if you were sitting there and we're in the Worldwide Studios room and we're having this conversation, and we're like, what do we need to bring back? I would stand up, I would walk over to the trash can and the recycling bin. I would get the lids and start slamming them together, Blessing. And you know what I would scream over and over and over and over again?
Resistance.
Siphon filter.
Oh, yeah. No, even that's a way better one.
I don't mean literally, but ding dong, Kojima's dead. Like we don't get. There's not gonna be another Metal Gear. Like, you know what I mean? You know, maybe hopefully they remaster it. They do whatever. The blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? I'd love to see Metal Gear continued. I'd love to see someone remaster it under the, you know, have Kojima be creative director or whatever off on the side. Even Sony get the right from Konami, run them over and give them to Kojima Productions, right? Whatever. But that's obviously a whole ball of wax and a whole lot of work. Siphon Filter is a game that does get talked about and does have positive memories of, and a lot of people didn't play the PSP games, which were great. It's a brand fucking new world out there for stealth action games, stealth espionage games. And you want to talk about PlayStation's unique strategy, their unique position for this, of being like, hey, we are doing Siphon Filter. It is a complete reboot. You are Gabe Logan. You know, this is what's happening, but it is this 007 Metal Gear from the ground up, PlayStation 5 exclusive. It's this, maybe it is Sony Bend. You know, I would imagine they're on Days Gone 2. I would think they took that engine and all the work and all the years and put it right to that. But maybe they're not. Maybe like they saw Kojima leaving, started reading the tea leaves here and started off on their own thing. But especially even with Perfect Dark, like if you could have, if the future shows us we're going to get a great Perfect Dark game and then a great Siphon Filter game again that are these dueling, you know, secret agent mascot kind of thing. Are you fucking kidding me?
That would be hot. I would be all about that. That would be amazing.
And like to sit there and have the story and have the cutscenes. Like, I mean, like even at that, like I realize it would never fucking happen. But imagine if fucking Naughty Dog did it. Imagine if it was.
Yeah, I was just about to say that too.
That'd be hot.
Yeah. Neil Druckmann's directing.
That would fulfill my wish for a Mission Impossible game from them on.
Totally, right? It's like, yeah, it's Bourne Identity. It's Mission Impossible. It is going to be this, you know, I don't think it would happen because I bet, you know, they want to have their next IP, their new project and new whatever and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and I get that, but like, how fucking rad would it be? And maybe, you know, it is just Siphon Filter and it's a new character and it's a new whatever, and but like, Siphon Filter is an untapped resource right now that people will flip the fuck out if you do it right.
And like, obviously, like I think that would ultimately be up to Naughty Dog. I could see the tops at Naughty Dog be like, Yeah, what like we're fans of Siphon Filter. I have no idea if they are, but if they were, right, like we're fans of Siphon Filter. If we go to Sony, they'll give it to us to work on because like why not? That'd be
I also think
awesome case.
I also think it would be really cool to see Sony Bend take a crack at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like Days Gone, I think, has a number of things I didn't like about Days Gone, but I think if you were to give them, if they were to take it in and be like, we're giving you stealth action game and the taser and all this jazz, and like, you know, even Days Gone has Siphon Filter references into it, which is cool. Like they know their lineage and their legacy. Like it could be cool to see there. I know there's been so much turnover too, you know, new eyes on it. Maybe they're in the same boat. They want to have their new projects and stuff, but like, it's always so easy just to think of, you know, Naughty Dog doing something, but specifically the Siphon Filter I'm pitching of, it's a fucking, you know, espionage movie. You know what I mean? And then also I think it would be cool to see what Naughty Dog's take on stick with me, a competent spy would look like, right? Like people are always like, oh man, I don't like the shooting in Uncharted. I didn't love it that much in last. It's like, I get all that, but like those games aren't meant, like Joel and Drake aren't meant to be those things, right? It is this pulp action. It is this yada, yada, yada. Like, what does it look like when it is you are a killing machine? You've been trained by the CIA and now you're off on your own. And like, you know,
your aim isn't all wobbly.
Yeah, exactly. It is, but it's like, you know, right on crosshairs kind of thing. That could be fun.
That could be really cool. And like Last of Us Part 2, I think has proven that Naughty Dog knows how to do stealth very well. And so I think that would also be cool.
Sure.
One more dev out there for it would be Kojima Productions. Even though like I feel like creatively it might get weird.
Dude, can you fucking imagine the middle finger to Konami? It turns out Sony did approach Konami. They did try to get Metal Gear. The Konami's like, we'll pass. I'm like, fuck you. Here's Siphon Filter. Here's Hideo Kojima. Hideo started from the ground up. Do whatever the fuck you want.
And that would be the awesome thing about it. Like, of course, like I want Kojima to do whatever the fuck he wants because that's when he works. I want to say best, and I don't know. I know a lot of people will be like, Death Stranding isn't his best, but you know what I mean. But yeah, Siphon Filter I think would be an awesome get for them because Kojima obviously knows how to make that game. My last question that I'll say we don't necessarily have to answer here, but could be a future topic of the show. I feel like it'd be cool to do an episode on dead PlayStation franchises that we think should come back based off this conversation.
Sure.
Because Siphon Filter is a great one.
How many do you think we can come up with? Not that I'm asking you to come up with right now.
I would have to sit and like look through a list of PlayStation franchises that haven't come back because
do you think you could get enough to have a tournament bracket? Because then you have really interesting things.
Oh,
where we do another dead game PlayStation game, and like somebody's fighting to come back to life. Somebody's fighting for life here. You know what I mean? They're all in the gulag.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Let's think about it because that would be really fun.
What I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, and blessing, you'll kill time while I do it, is I'm going to go to the January form right now. Of course, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Go there. You can click on the participation links to find the post that has all the links for where you go. I'm deleting the Killzone questions I put in today, and then I'm adding at the bottom. What? Short answer. Yeah, short answer. What? Dormant.
Yeah.
PlayStation franchise deserves a comeback.
Barry, is there any game that comes to mind for you?
Go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, answer this, and then we will come up and do maybe a tournament for next week or whenever we have time.
Because an
easy one is Jack and Dexter.
Of course.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun episode. I can already tell. It's gonna be a great episode.
And then we have to pit them against each other. That's when it gets real interesting.
Yeah.
Jack versus Dexter?
No. Jack,
Jack and Daxter versus Tak and the Power of Juju.
I mean, at that point, of course, you're going to sign Daxter.
There's got to be like a bunch of like PS2 era
Sly
games
Cooper.
that are in the,
there are a lot of PS2 era games.
Yeah, Sly would put on that list for sure.
Yeah.
Huh. This is an interesting one. Good job. We stumbled on a good one there.
Yeah.
People in the chat are saying Knack.
And on that note,
Knack's always alive, baby. It's always alive.
On that note, I'm going to give Barrett, the chat, and whoever else is watching and listening to this and was thinking Knack a moment to look in the mirror. I want you to pull your car over and look in the rear view mirror, look at your own eyes and go, what's wrong with me? All right. And while you think about what you've done wrong, to say Knack right now, to disgrace this podcast with Knack, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
This episode of PS Love You XOXO is brought to you by Hims. ForHims.com is all about men's wellness. We all know the story. Andy and Nick wanted to maintain their own wellness, so they looked to Hims for help keeping their hair full and healthy. We can't confirm they've been loving it ever since. Through Hims, you can get the prescription medication that treats erectile dysfunction. Real science, real solutions to erectile dysfunction. Hims makes it easy. Hims connects you with a licensed medical professional online who can prescribe FDA-approved prescription medication to treat ED. You get the same active ingredient as that expensive little pill, but without the expensive price tag. This could cost hundreds of bucks if you had to go through a doctor or pharmacy. Not so much with Hims. Hims makes it simple and affordable. No embarrassing conversations, no expensive appointments. Just answer a few questions online about your medical history, and a provider will confidentially review. If approved, your medication is shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging, and shipping is free. No more searching online for answers to questions about ED or sexual wellness. Just go to your Hims account and ask a medical professional you can trust. Why live with ED when the solution can be so simple? Try Hims today by starting out with a free online visit. Go to forhims.com/kindafunny for your free visit. That's forhims.com/kindafunny. forhims.com/kindafunny. Prescription products are subject to medical provider approval and require an online consultation with a medical provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details and safety information. Remember, that's forhims.com/kindafunny. We're also brought to you by Upstart. You know that credit card, the one that you're afraid to look at to see what the balance is. If you've been avoiding your debt, it's time to confront it. Upstart can help you face it and finally pay it off. Upstart is the fast and easy way to get a personal loan to pay off your debt, all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high interest credit card debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple fixed monthly payment. Upstart finds smarter rates with trusted partners because they assess more than just your credit score. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans from $1,000 to $50,000. You can get approved the same day, and you can receive funds as fast as one business day. If debt is taking over your life, it's time to get a fresh start with Upstart. Find out how low your Upstart rate monthly payments can be today when you go to upstart.com/kindafunny. That's upstart.com/kindafunny. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Of course, go to upstart.com/kindafunny. Lastly, we're brought to you by Honey. These days, it feels like online shopping is the only shopping we really do. That's where today's sponsor, Honey, comes in. It's the free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and automatically tests them when you're checking out. Honey is basically your online shopping best friend. Here's how it works. You get Honey on your computer for free in 2 easy clicks. Then, when you're checking out on one of its over 30,000 supported sites, Honey pops up, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons for that site. If Honey finds working codes, it'll apply the best one to your cart. Greg Miller himself will tell you about how much he saved by using Honey. Honey has found its over 17 million members, $2 billion in savings. That's billion with a B. Honey supports all kinds of retailers, from tech and gaming sites to fashion brands to even food delivery. It's simple. If you have a computer, Honey should be on it. It's free and works with whatever browser you choose. You can get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/kinda. That's joinhoney.com/kinda. Joinhoney.com/kinda so they know that we sent you. Thanks, Honey, for supporting today's episode.
All right, Blessing. It's the second week of January. For many people, their first week back to work. That usually means pretty quiet times in the video game industry. What do you got for me for PlayStation updates?
I only have one update for you. Okay. Quantic Dream's David Cage teases an exciting 2021. I'm pulling this from Sammy Barker at Push Square. Quantic Dream has been somewhat quiet since the release of Detroit Become Human on the PS4, but it's had a lot going on behind the scenes. Much of its catalog was ported to the PC with Sony's consent, and it's transformed itself into a publisher as well as a developer of cinematic story games. For example, the Parisian company is bringing Sea of Solitude, the director's cut, to Nintendo Switch, and it's also publishing Dustborn. It will also self-publish its future internal projects on multiple platforms, which will include the PS5, but also the Xbox Series X, PC, and potentially even the Nintendo Switch. Lots of change then. David Cage, the firm's co-founder, teased on Twitter that it's shaping up to be a big year for the studio. Quote, 2021 should be an exciting year for Quantic Dream and in our community, he hinted. We are impatient to tell you more, end quote. It feels about time we learned about the team's next project, so here's hoping for some news soon. Greg, are you excited about what we can look forward to from Quantic Dream?
What the fuck is Dustborn?
Oh, you hadn't heard about Dustborn? Oh,
No.
everybody talks about Dustborn.
For real, do you know this game?
I fucking love.
I knew it
Dustborn.
existed.
Dude,
I don't know
my mom loves
much.
Right now, hold on. Don't
Dustborn.
look at it. Don't look at it.
My dad
Barrett, I'm slacking you the trailer for Dustborn. We're gonna watch this together.
Okay,
What? the fuck is Dustborn?
It came up.
It's everybody's favorite game.
It was a few months ago. I saw the announcement on Twitter, and I was like, "Huh," and I just kept scrolling past.
Go ahead and watch.
Hold on.
I know you're
You
pulling
want me
it
to
up.
put
Yeah,
sound up on it too.
yeah. Can you, everybody?
Yeah. Hold on.
We'll see. I'm still gonna talk over it. That works, right?
Where do we stand?
Hold on.
As far as Spyro the Dragon being a dormant PlayStation franchise, do we count that? Is that still dormant?
Yeah, we count that. I understand the argument that but like Skylanders is not Spyro.
No,
and there was a remake also,
dude.
Yeah, but even remakes. I mean, like we're talking about like new entries, aren't we?
I guess.
I mean, this is an argument for the when we get there. Like, I would count that. I like in the same way I would say. Well, I guess that doesn't count actually. I was gonna say in the same way I would count Sly, but Sly did also have the new game, and then nothing happened with that. But Zanzara is now Oculus.
All right, you all ready for Dustborn?
Dustborn, Road Trip Baby. I'm gonna narrate it because it says Road Trip Baby. The ghosts are coming back. Then this woman does, but what the hell is Justice doing? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it's this guy pulling the thread. And if you're like a listener going like, Greg's doing a bad job. No, this is how there is no hope. This is how this except for us. This is the trailer. Somewhere in America.
It looks very Telltale,
Yeah, it does.
which I guess would fit for a Quantic Dream.
Still, we're still in the somewhat like it's just we're in a
They're in a bus.
We're in an RV, a bus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing different characters do stuff here.
Yeah. Young adults with attitude. It looks like.
Well, that guy's got hair like me. He's not a young adult anymore.
He's like, he looks like kind of like.
He's
Zach
like Nick
Ryan.
old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's Zach Ryan old.
Oh, there's like a little robot-y. Like,
a little robot-y guy dancing
around.
and flying.
It seems like they're going on a Battle of the Bands tour, maybe. There's a poster for that.
Now we're outside of the bus. There's a robot driving the bus. We're outside of it, and it's just still going here. It looks like low res Borderlands, but before like all hell broke loose in Borderlands. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
This guy's gonna. There's a thing flying at the bus, and that's the trailer.
Published by Quantic.
A game about hope, friendship, love, road trips, music, family, robots, ghosts, signals, justice.
It's a game about too much, let me tell you.
This is all comic boxes that are popping up. America, Civil War, religion, and the power of words.
It's interesting.
Dustborn.
Too many words.
We are Dustborn. Fuck you. What was interesting about that? Well, I'll give you. It's interesting because you don't know what the fuck it's about in any way, shape, or form.
It looks different.
Here's. Don't. You're not on anything, right? You're not seeing anything about Dustborn.
No.
Yeah, it's back to you guys.
Give me. Okay, cool. Oh, I meant Blessing. I didn't want to have anything pulled up on his page. Tell me, Blessing, what do you think this game is? Like, okay. I have not a much more, but I have the YouTube description here on what Dustborn is. What do you? What? Give me your.
Okay.
I'll start you and you go. Dustborn is a blank. You just fill it in. What else is this game gonna be?
It's a choose your own adventure game. Narrative adventure game. Okay. Dustborn is a narrative adventure game where you take on the role of multiple characters on a road trip to discover. What would they discover? It looks like they are going to a battle of the bands.
Go ahead. I mean, nothing. There's no wrong. I mean, there are wrong answers, obviously, but like, don't get me wrong. Like, you should not. I don't think watching that trailer, you should have a real grasp on what's going on with the woman who like did a TK blast to send back a bunch of robots, and then we were just on a bus.
It looks like it looks like if you took like the last generation of like adventure games, right, and like mashed them together, because there's a little bit of Life Strange in there, a little bit of Telltale.
Sure.
I guess Quantic Dream's publishing it, so there they are.
And Borderlands,
and then Tales from the Borderlands. I'm gonna say it's a narrative adventure game where you're going on a road trip and things happen. That's my whole pitch.
The YouTube description is Dustborn is a third-person, single-player, story-driven, road-tripping action adventure about hope, love, friendship, robots, and the power of words. If we go to their Steam page, it says lead a band of misfits and outcasts on a perilous road trip across a capital D, divided states of America, not united, divided states of America. Oh my God,
that's like the official name of like of America.
You're in the divided states of America. In a story-driven action adventure about hope, friendship, love, robots, and powers. For the record, Red Thread Games is the developer of this. Quantic Dream's publisher. I am not making fun of your game. I am not saying your game's going to be bad. I'm not talking shit about that. I'm saying that if I was the publisher and you showed me this trailer, I'd be like, nope, stop. This doesn't excite anyone. This doesn't tell anybody what your game is.
And it's
like,
already, and like, I'll take it.
Unless you're Quantic Dream. If I'm Quantic Dream, I understand how this excites you.
Yeah, if you're Quantic Dream, you're like, oh, ham-fisted shit, let's do it.
But it's just like the music, just a boring.
That's my thing. Is like this is such a.
We've gotten so far from what's going on with Death Star Quantic Dream. We'll get back and talk about Quantic Dream in a second. I'm sorry, I just got so tied up over here because this is just like I feel like this. Like Quantic Dream entering into the publishing space, right? They're new at it. Like this, they haven't done many,
of course,
any other than their own. This is.
I don't recall. I mean, they I guess they just published the game on Switch, the popular
on Steam.
Game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, shit. What was that? You talked about it in the article, didn't you? Yeah. Sea of Solitude.
Sea of Solitude.
And it's not out yet. That's still coming out. So I think that is their first one. According to Steam, Dustborn is the only non-Quantic Dream developed game they're publishing. And it's just that thing of like, this strikes me as like you're the first kind of game you'd publish. It was just like, you don't fully know what you're doing on this front yet. You don't really know what you're going on here. Now, let me give you more about Dustborn. Not to make fun of it, but now to give it more of what the fuck is this game. Dustborn is a third-person, single-player, story-driven, road-tripping action-adventure about hope, love, friendship, and robots, and the power of words. Set in a vibrant and perilous post-infodemic America, inspired by graphic novels, a band of misfits and outcasts must cross a divided continent to transport a mysterious package from California to Nova Scotia. Welcome to the divided states of America. The year is 2030, 3 decades after the broadcast. You play Pax, ex-con, outcast, con artist, and anormal with superhuman powers, fueled by disinformation. Your job to transport a package across a divided America. Oh no!
This is sounding worse and worse.
Well, that's just Death Stranding. Your job is to transport a package across a divided America. Oh, no. But this is not a one-woman job. The fanatical Puritans are on your ass. The authoritarian justice is in your way, and you're 4 months pregnant. You need help. You need a crew. Joined by a motley mob of misfits with their own weird powers, you must overcome the obstacles that stand in your way through manipulation, subterfuge, and force to reach the final destination and escape your troubled past.
If this game is good, it's going to be the greatest game of all time.
It doesn't sound bad, right? Like the thing about it, that's, again, I think the failing of the trailer. And again, everybody who's working hard in this game, continue to work hard. I'm not trying to talk shit about your work. Just the trailer. What I just read, like at times seems like they're just throwing in buzzwords and everything else. But then you get to this, okay, my weird powers overcome this thing. All right, that sounds cool. You know what I mean? The characters are all diverse, it seems. That's interesting. But it's like that idea of like, again, reading from the top where they're like, oh yeah, graphic novel inspired, right? Like that's awesome. And I love that. And then you watch the trailer and it's like just that comic box, for text or whatever. And I'm like, oh, this kind of seems, this doesn't,
it seems messy.
It doesn't have style to it. Yeah, it looks like, it looks like temp stuff. This all looks like temp stuff. I mean, granted, Dustborn not out yet, coming soon is what it says. So whatever.
Yeah. My thing is like the more we got from that trailer, the more it reminded me of Season, which is a game that was announced at the Game Awards. And I actually had it originally as a story here, but like the more I went through the story, the more I was like, okay, no, this is more required reading stuff. I very much recommend, if you go on IGN.com, they have a breakdown over preview of Season, what that game is and all that stuff. But like it has like a lot of similar stuff there as far as, oh yeah, this is a game about exploration. It's a game about colorful characters, all this stuff. So like you mentioned, right? Like this feels like Quantic Dream, like getting their feet wet as a publisher and doing all that stuff. And this almost strikes me as a one for us, one for them kind of thing, where they published Sea of Solitude, which is a proven game on Nintendo Switch, and that is a thing of, okay, cool, like this is a safe project that we can do and probably make some money on. Whereas this feels like them being like, all right, Quantic Dream, what are we about? We're about the art, we're about self-expression, we're about doing something dynamic and different in the industry and in the medium. And they probably get this pitch for this game, and they're like, perfect. Like this is us. Like this is what we do. And it feels like a bet in the way that, hey, we see this as creative and we want to uplift this, as opposed to we see this and we think this is going to be big and we're going to profit off it all and all that stuff.
That's fair, and that's definitely that's what you want to see. You want to see studios that have made it kick the ladder back down and help small developers come up with other stuff. and get their games
I hope
out
this works
there.
out because like I think like from the description, again, this trailer is messy. I think this trailer is very messy, and like even a lot of how the description of the game reads, it's a lot. But you know, I think I mean I think it has some stuff there, you know, in terms of like I like how the characters look. I like the art style for the most part. I think the superpower is very very fascinating. Came out of nowhere in the trailer, but like you know has potential. I think there's a game there that could very well be awesome if they're able to pull everything off.
Yeah, for sure. If they could do something really cool, that'd be good. Like if they have something in there. There's a lot going on, and I do not think the trailer sets it up well, but
No,
I do like things I heard in there and like seeing. Back to your question, where it was Quantic Dream. Are we excited for what they'd be doing next if they're teasing stuff's coming up? You said in the middle of there when Barrett bagged on him. Like, wait, I like Detroit Become Human. I feel like that's the general consensus. And I'll be very clear. We're talking, of course, about the quality of their work in the games, not obviously we are, but like bringing in the fucking sexual harassment and all the stuff, the toxic workplace allegations that have come, and they're fighting with France and all this other stuff. Quantic Dream is always such an interesting, even that, if you want to remove that from the conversation for a second, always such an interesting conversation to have, because I feel like if David Cage's reputation wasn't so, I'm trying to be an artist, I'm trying to be an auteur, I don't think the games would get as much shit as they get. But the fact that the vibe and, you know, the reputation and like how he's acted before on certain issues and how I've heard he's talked to people before reads very much like my shit doesn't stink and I'm the best. I'm making art. And so then when you get something where like Detroit Become Human, you make a choice and it's like they start singing about slavery or whatever. Like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, no, it reads a certain way. And yeah, like I'm very interested in them as a developer because yeah, like I said before, like I like Detroit Become Human. I don't think it was like a piece of art in terms of like something else that's medium pushing. Like I just thought it was a fun game and a good game.
I agree. I totally agree with you. Where I remember it was Judges Week that year, and I took the PlayStation, and I could keep playing it because we had enjoyed it. But I forget what it was. Oh god, I don't remember the character's name anymore. It was the robot or the cyborg or whatever, huh?
Kara.
No, Kara. I didn't have. It wasn't. I didn't have issues with her. The one for us was the Jesse, whoever, he was like a TV star, whatever. The good looking male robot from TV that people loved a lot. Jesse McCarthy, is that right?
Connor?
McCartney? No, Connor's Brian Deckard. I remember him, whatever. The other one, the one who was the guy, the old man's aide or whatever, and then he got framed for the murder, and then he ran off.
Wait,
sure.
The cop?
No,
the cop is Connor. I think.
Oh, I thought you were talking about I thought you were talking about Connor's like buddy, the human dude.
Now we're open to that damn fucking dude. No,
Clancy
Brown.
That's Mr. Krebs.
Sure, Krabs, yeah.
That is
except in SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, the newest one, where they had a different.
He
voice
wasn't
actor.
the voice in the original either.
That threw me off so hard when I first booted up that game.
Oh, in the game, yeah. People are saying it's Marcus, yeah, Marcus. You're right. Okay, so yeah, Marcus. Anyway, he makes I forget what it is where he goes from like 0 to 1,000 and kind of broke it for us. Where it's like, what the fuck? How'd that happen?
Like where he went. I don't think people care about
the span of like 2 days. He like went from like being thrown in the trash to like the leading
a revolution.
Yeah.
he woke up in like a trash compound or whatever, and immediately became like Martin Luther King and or Malcolm X, depending on how you played the game. Right after that. Yep. Amazing.
Like again, within the span of like 2 or 3 days, and it's so fucking weird.
But yeah, like I will say regarding Quantic Dream, I think them being separated from PlayStation makes me less excited about what they're working on. And I think part of that is the prospect of them making games exclusively on PlayStation meant that they're able to take advantage of the hardware in a way that I always found, even though kind of gimmicky, I always found kind of fun. You know, when you would get into those quick time event moments where you would have to like shake the controller a certain way, or like I remember playing Heavy Rain, and like the part where you'd have to like cut off a finger or do whatever you do in Heavy Rain, you'd have to like move the controller a certain way. I always found that gimmicky stuff really fun and really cool. And since they're going third party, I expect that they're going to do that way less. And I wonder if their games are still going to look the way that we've gotten over the course of the last generations. Because who knows if they feel secure in doing those games anymore, because it seems like those have always had a mixed reception. And so like, I'm curious about the future from that standpoint, but I'm not as excited about it because I don't know, like they're going to lose that luster in a way that I think Supermassive has been kind of making up for, but also I feel like they kind of lost it too since like
they did the same thing, right? Yeah, like that. Supermassive, don't get me wrong. I mean, a studio that does a lot of interesting, cool shit, but like after Until Dawn, that was when we were all like, oh my god, PlayStation, buy these people, scoop them up, get them doing, and they didn't. Instead, they went with the Bandai Namco deal to make the Dark Pictures anthology, and we've gotten 2 of those games, and neither of them have been great.
Yeah,
arguably not even good, depending on where you want to come down. I only played Man of Medan, and I do not remember it fondly, either from a technical or story level.
Whoa,
and it's like, whoa, Black Man, Man of Medan. And like, yeah, so it's in that. Yeah, you played the other one, right? You guys did a first impression, I think, for it.
Yeah, I only played about the first hour of Little Hope, and even then, like,
yeah, some cool things about it. I remember directing that first impressions. I remember kind of being bored watching you guys play.
Yeah,
and I wasn't even like playing.
Yeah. Even before they started doing Dark Pictures, I felt like they had kind of a dip in quality in terms of Hidden Agenda was their PlayLink game that they did for PlayStation. And I really enjoyed it. Nowhere near as fun or as fleshed out as Until Dawn, but like a cool experience to have with friends. Even if that was their role at PlayStation, to be if their role was to be experimental and put out your Until Dawns, but then also your PlayLink games and then VR games when you want to. I think that'd still be an excellent role for Supermassive.
Totally.
But right now, yeah, Dark Pictures just hasn't been, I think, cementing them as like the like those guys, right? The way
that's
that they
hurt
were
their
those
legacy,
guys.
right? I feel like exactly what you're talking about with both Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, and then Hidden Agenda. Both of those, like, you'd play and you'd be like, oh, I mean, Rush of Blood arguably is a great on-rail shooter for VR or whatever. So I bring that, but like Hidden Agenda, where you're like, it's fine, it's whatever, it's fun to play for a couple nights with your friends. You'd sit there and be like, yeah, and this is clearly limited by the fact that they want me to use the device, and this is built around a phone gimmick or whatever. Like, that's cool. I'm glad they experimented. Can't wait for Until Dawn 2. Can't wait for that, for them to be focused on one game on one platform and really fucking crush it and have the backing of PlayStation and all this stuff. And then just didn't do it. Now they're over there doing that. And so, yeah, I think Quantic Dream, I'm always going to be interested in what they do next. Like, I loved Heavy Rain. I forget, was it Barrett? Were we having this conversation if it holds up or not?
Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation comes up a lot.
Yeah, maybe I've had it multiple times with
other people too. Like, if we had this conversation, it was like a year or two ago.
Okay,
I want to replay that game so bad because I loved it so much back in the day, and I know for a fact if I played it today, I'd probably be like, "Yo, this shit
whatever
sucks."
Game where I talk shit about it, where I was like, or I was defending it, or somebody's like, "That doesn't." I'm like, it was fucking great at the time. You know what you're talking about? Somebody sent me a video and I watched it for a little bit. And it was like, ooh,
I don't know about that. It was like in the last few months when I was directing another PS I Love You, and I think it was like something about the reveal or like how things come together at the end. Or it
was always stupid. Like they never even explained how Ethan Mars just conveniently blacks out when he needs to.
It definitely was
some specific part where I was like, this thing doesn't hold up, and
because I remember
Old Man Miller like back in my day,
back in the day.
It was definitely Heavy Rain. And I never say like things don't hold up, and this is what I'm not calling you out, but like people who react to like my hot takes whenever I say like, oh, like it doesn't hold up, or like, oh, like in today's like standards and stuff, like they always think I'm like coming after like the quality of like what it was when it came out. That's never the case. That's
always good response though.
Yeah, I know. Like when I said like Mario 64 doesn't age well, people are like, it's always been a great game. I was like, yeah, like it was a great game when it came out, man. It's been fucking 20 years? How long has that game been out?
It came out in 1996. He's talking about Mario 64.
Oh, sorry, about
yeah. And to be fair, Barrett, that's because you're wrong. That's because you're incorrect. Mario 64.
No, but they'll respond with Mario 64 was great when it came out. Like it was always great, and it's like, all right, that's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm saying.
Heavy Rain, though, I think I gotta go back and play. I gotta know what it's like.
Did you platinum it? Go platinum.
It was bad.
I don't know if I want to platinum it. But I forgot. Oh no, we talked about it. I think for our when we did the segment of I forget what it was called, but the game of the year each year of the decade. I think that was my pick in 2011, and I think that's how it came up previously on this podcast because I remember having this conversation with Barrett. So there you go.
There you go.
What's up? Oh,
I was giving a good pregnant pause before. Let people look at their phone to see if it's broken, what's wrong with the podcast. I like fucking with people. What do you got for me for PlayStation picks this week?
Of course, PlayStation Picks is where you highlight a few of the cool looking games coming to PSN this week. There are no big hitters. It's been a very quiet few weeks for PlayStation. But there is one pick I got. Very exciting release. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game complete edition. It's coming out on PS4 on Thursday, January 14th. I got the trailer here, Bear, if you want to play it. Scott Pilgrim is back. Team up with friends to battle your way.
I'm already on it, bud.
Oh, thank you, Barrett. See,
yeah,
that's why
I pay attention to the show. I'm not like Kevin playing whatever the fuck game on his phone, you know?
Playing worm jazz.
Yeah, worm jazz, that's it.
Yeah. Team up with friends to battle your way through waves of tough enemies to fight for love. Share health and coins, compete in mini games like dodgeball, and challenge each other to an epic last one standing duel. I remember playing this game back in the day on PS3, and I enjoyed it. I'm very happy that it's back because, of course, it got delisted for whatever reason, was unavailable to play for the longest time, and now on Thursday, that all gets fixed. You excited for this, Greg, at all?
Nope. I covered it back in the day at IGN. Like, we'd walk over to Ubisoft and do previews of it, I remember, and like Hillary, like it was one of those games where usually, you know, you shout out in the office, there's a preview event, who wants to go to it, like somebody interested in that game, like there'll be somebody just wants to get out or whatever. This was the one where like people had to be turned away. Like we went over there in droves to play this game, and I went over, I remember, and I just did not dig it. I just like those side scrolling beat 'em ups at the time I loved. Like I think it's like Streets of Rage, right? Like that was awesome, or like arcade games like Simpsons Arcade or whatever, X-Men. But like I remember playing that and just being awful at it and be like, I'm good. I don't need to do anything with this again. I'm glad. I know people are super excited for it and they miss it and they love it. So go get them. I'm not trying to stop.
An excellent soundtrack for sure.
That is true. That I would never argue. And I think it's got a great visual style and stuff. But
yeah. I still haven't chosen the game I'm going to play on Thursday for my streaming slot. This comes out on Thursday, and so I might give this one a go live on stream.
Blessing. Here's the thing. I've never played this game before.
Oh,
and like, is it online co-op?
Oh, I actually don't know.
It wasn't back in the day, which I remember being a problem. So I doubt they patched that in.
I mean, that seems like it'd be work. That would be fun if it was. We can check out the episode.
Maybe.
If it is, we're for sure playing together.
Okay.
Because that sounds like it'd be a blast.
Okay.
But that's it for PlayStation Picks.
Hold on, I'm doing a Google and I go online co-op.
I'm not gonna say that's the for sure stream because I'm also playing a lot of Sekiro, which I'll talk about in a minute. And that could be also a thing I want to stream because I've been playing that game nonstop.
Oh wait, hold on, maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Ubisoft, hold on, Control F, co-op.
Barry, me and you might be playing some Scott Pilgrim.
You're right. It does. I'm reading on Ubisoft.com here. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game complete edition also includes drop-in, drop-out, local or online multiplayer. Enabling up to 4 players to walk in.
Bless.
Yeah, this would be a good time, dude.
I'm not wrong about the original, right? Though David in the chat says I can't. No, that's the wrong one.
I don't remember.
Hype for Game says yes, this one has online. Okay. So then it looks like I'm not wrong about the original because I'm very old, but this one hasn't.
There you go. Let's lock that in. Me and you.
I'm down.
Yeah, let's get some codes for that. We're gonna have a good time.
PC or PlayStation 5? What do you think?
Oh my god.
Oh, PlayStation.
Okay. Well,
give it up, Barrett. All right,
dude. This PC that I'm working on right now is fucking dope. Playing some Jedi Fallen Order. Looks great. 1440p, 60 frames per second. Let me tell you.
Does this still have all the bugs?
You still falling through the floor. He's still having all. Does the map still suck?
I feel like it's less buggy overall on PC than it was like on PlayStation 4 Pro, but it does like still like I don't think it was like optimized well for like any greatly for any of the platforms. So I still get like weird framey things in between like transitioning from gameplay to cutscene, but that's like really all I see, and it's like besides that, it's fucking great on PC.
What a great game with a lot of bugs.
Blessing.
Greg,
it's time for what you've been playing. Of course, I see it on both of our lists. This is Bloodborne month on PS I Love You, XOXO, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, last PS I Love You, we kicked it off, starting a real playthrough of Bloodborne for me. You had just beaten it. Now you're working on all the DLCs. I've seen so many people. Of course, we streamed it on kind of funny day. We also then on my stream last Wednesday streamed me going after Father Gascoigne. People talking about Bloodborne left and right. So many amazing tweets of people who have picked it up alongside us. There was one of my favorite. I think it's gonna be impossible to grab, right? Where I just saw it go through. Here it is. Bubba Fett tweeted at us and said, 3 years ago, I resold Bloodborne to my local GameStop because Father Gascoigne whipped my ass. Yesterday, I picked it up again, and now I'm 5 bosses in. Thanks for the motivation, Blessing, and Greg. Hashtag Bloodborne January, which we hadn't been calling it, but I like that a lot. Where do you want to start? We have so many questions about Bloodborne. I guess, Blessing, where are you now with your DLC journey?
Oh, I beat what I believe to be the final boss of the DLC. I still have like bosses left that I think are optional bosses, but I beat Orphan of Kos for people who understand what that is. And man, like what a difficult boss. It took me legitimately a week to beat that boss. I think I spent more time on that boss than I've spent on maybe any other boss in any other video game. And it was very satisfying to beat him. I had a very fun time finding him. But yeah, no, like that was a difficult game, but overall really enjoyed the DLC. I think the DLC might even be like the DLC has the best content in the game, which is a rare thing for me to say about a video game, because like I rarely even want to interact with DLC, because for me, once I beat a base game, I'm cool.
You're on to the next thing. You're Blessing. Love them and leave them at Aoye.
That's what they call me. I don't know. I didn't know you went to middle school with me.
You were loving it and leaving in middle school? Damn.
Yeah, dude, all my life I've been loving and leaving. But yeah, no, that's kind of how. I mean, honestly, that is kind of how I like to interact with games. So I'll play something, beat it, cool, on to the next one. And for Bloodborne, the DLC was just so good from the get-go, because it is very like it's very hunter focused, which means you're fighting a lot of other hunters, which are enemies that fight pretty much similar to how you fight, and they'll have different weapons and different fighting styles and all that stuff. But like they're similar to you, and those are some of my favorite fights in the game, because it turns into what feels like more of a like fighting game than just this regular action game where you're fighting through enemies.
Sure.
And so I really enjoyed that. I still haven't beat Lawrence, for people who ask, and so like that's one of the optional bosses in the DLC that I can go back and fight. And the reason why is because I've been playing a lot more Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Which I can talk about in a second, but I know you probably want to touch on your Bloodborne experience.
No, it's all part of the same conversation. This is just a rambling conversation about Souls games, because it's now Souls month on PS I Love You XOXO. What's going on with Sekiro? Because last I heard from you, you'd started it really briefly and you weren't in love with it.
Yeah, so like I started on the stream last week, and I only played like 30 minutes because we didn't have much time to mess around. And I came back the next day. I forget if this was live or off air, but like, I mentioned to Andy, and I think you were there also, and I was like, I don't know if I'm liking this combat as much as I liked Bloodborne. Like something about how the game moves just doesn't do it for me. And from there, over the weekend, I dove back in and played more. And Greg, I love this game.
There it is. So there it is. Now it's all there.
It is so good. It is mind blowing that the same developer made these games, because obviously like they're both Souls games, quote unquote. I know people argue whether or not Sekiro is a Souls game, but they're both like within that same vein of action games with difficult combat, and you're finding the next bonfire or lamp or whatever, and you're progressing that way. And like, it has like linear paths, but then also like there are off paths you can go on for optional stuff, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cryptic shit, all that stuff. Sekiro has all that, but Sekiro also is very much its own game in the way that it moves. Like there's a jump button, like there's a lot of platforming elements in the game, which I didn't catch me by surprise, because I've seen trailers and I had started Sekiro before, but it kind of lapsed from my memory, like the actual gameplay of Sekiro after playing Bloodborne for so long. And so like you have a grappling hook that'll get you from place to place. You have all this different shit. And so that's been a learning experience for me. But then also the combat itself is just so different from Bloodborne's, in the way that Bloodborne very much encourages aggression and like fighting back and getting your health back and being in your enemy's face, but then also dashing and all this stuff. Whereas Sekiro encourages aggression, but like also doesn't, in like different ways, where a lot of people describe Sekiro to me as a rhythm game, because it is very much about countering and figuring out the timing of your opponent and when they strike. Greg Miller from Kind of Funny.
If somebody hasn't played Sekiro, the way I had it described to me a lot, that because I only played it for a real brief amount of time, so it's similar to how I drop into Souls games for whatever, an hour and then fuck off. Usually, people said it had a lot of comparisons to Jedi Fallen Order, and not that they're the same difficulty or anything, but it was, as somebody who platinum Jedi Fallen Order, right? It was very much about not rushing into attack, let the enemy make the move, parry, attack, worry about what they're doing rather than be offensive, think defensively.
Yes.
Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah, like I would say Sekiro is more defensive, but
Okay.
it is way more intense about it. And so like the way combat works is you're basically trying to break your opponent's posture. And the way you do that is by attacking them, right? Like,
Okay.
it's like any other game where you're trying to stagger your enemy. The more you attack, the higher their posture bar goes up. And once you break that posture, you can then get in a killing blow. And the stronger enemies have 2 killing blows that they can take. And so like it is more so about building up that posture gauge. And like if you attack them and they're blocking, their posture meter still goes up. If they're not blocking, their health goes down. And the lower their health is, the higher their posture gauge is going to fill and all this stuff. Basically, and with that also, the more you don't attack, the more their posture gauge goes back down. And so basically the game encourages aggression and encourages being in your enemy's face. Because you want to make sure you're attacking as much as possible to fill that posture gauge so you can give a killing blow. But at the same time, the game isn't as lenient or as focused on dashing away from your enemy in the way that Bloodborne is, or dodge rolling and all that stuff in the way that Bloodborne is. Like you very much want to be in their face the whole time and keeping on blocking and parrying, because parrying will also fill their posture. You want to do that stuff as much as possible. And in that way, the game becomes about being in your opponent's face and countering and hitting and countering and countering and hitting and doing that back and forth, which does feel like it becomes this rhythm that I feel is very fun and very satisfying and very difficult. Like in the way that last week I think I mentioned that like, I think people overblow how difficult Bloodborne is. Like Bloodborne, difficult at times, and punishing at times. I don't think it's the hardest game in the world. Sekiro feels as hard as I thought Bloodborne was going to be. Sekiro feels so much more difficult. And like I'm having a great time with it. Like, the I think the world is interesting. The enemies are a similar type of interesting as the Bloodborne enemies, where like some of the entrances they make is fun, in their animation and how like unique so many of the enemies feel. I've been having a blast with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like how it works a lot, very similarly to how your Bloodborne experience went, where you played for a while and enjoyed it or whatever. You weren't sure how you felt about it, and you came back and gave it real time, and then got fucking lost in it, and now you're like all in on it. Yeah. Similarly, Andrew writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, Greg, now that you're 1 week into your first deep dive into a Soulsborne title, how are you feeling? I haven't had a chance to watch the VODs from the daily live streams yet, but what are you picking out while you play? If you have a shaman like Blessing, Andy, to more, are you getting some tasty lore bits as you play and finding it engaging, or are they helping you find the right path and avoid traps? Is anything sticking out to you in terms of design other than just the aesthetic choices? The Souls games are often highly praised for having superior level design. Are you finding yourself noticing any of that? So yeah, if you haven't seen anything we've been doing or keeping up with my tweets, right now I've beaten Father Gascoigne, Vicar Amelia, Cleric Beast, and the Witch of Hemwick. I'm currently working on Bloodstarved Beast. Is that right? The full name?
Yeah. Is that the one at the end of I forget the name of the level.
Old Yarnum.
Yes, Old Yarnum. Yeah, that's
yeah. I would have Bloodstarved Beast dead, but I used up all my antidote, and now I've got to run around and try to farm more antidote. And I know I could just Google it, but it's like literally I ran out and I'm like, I don't feel like doing that right now. And this morning I did a Greg way when I played Bloodborne. While I did it, I was like, I'll just farm antidote, and then I ran around and got like one. I was like, God damn it, I gotta actually look up where to go get it for or whatever. I enjoy Bloodborne. I'm having a good time with it. What I've talked about is this was a little bit more pre the weekend, because I played obviously over the weekend, just myself hanging out. I like Bloodborne more on stream. Like the streams we've been doing, if you haven't, it is Imran, it is Blessing, it is Andy, it is Snowbike Mike talking to me and not coaching me unless I ask for it, but like being the pep squad, having a conversation, talking about the world. If I start going the completely wrong direction, like, do you want to know? I'm like, yeah, I'll do this kind of thing. Playing it on my own solo all by myself, I don't enjoy it as much. Like I like it still. I enjoy it. I think the gameplay is great. It's just one of those things that for me, and I get that this is the game. It's this weird push and pull of it, and I'm going to be excited to keep playing it and finish it and see how I feel, after the whole thing's done. But it is this push and pull for me of it doing a lot of things I really like and then a few things I don't like. And I get that it's doing the things I don't like because that's the game it wants to be and the design it wants to have. But it's just still that push and pull of like, I'm not having as much fun as I could be having if I knew where to fucking go. Like I you know what I mean? Like that's my biggest, I know this is such a yeah, games are everything to a million different people. And I get that Bloodborne doesn't want to give you a map. It doesn't want to give you a mini map. It wants you to remember the world and know what's going on and that kind of thing. But for me personally, who, I do chores all weekend long, or I have to go run an errand or whatever, and I get back and it's like, cool, here's my 3 hours to play a game, right? Like, it sucks to be playing a game and then not know what you're supposed to do and not feel like you're advancing where you need to advance, right? Like, I was playing, I think, it is Old Yarnum, I believe, or whatever, where, I'd taken out, it's the spoilers for Bloodborne, but, I'm pretty early and it shouldn't matter. And this isn't story stuff. I took out the guy with the Gatling gun, made my way down into the rafters, burned the thing in the center that was, hanging from the chandelier, and then dropped down to the ground. And it was waiting. I was like, all right, clearly this thing that's on fire is going to be a boss. It wasn't a boss. Okay. Like, they're up there on that level is a little flashy thing. So clearly I can get to there. So I was like, I'll try to do that. I'm running on the beams. I'm trying to do jumps to get to the thing. I can't do it. I'm falling short. I'm like, how the fuck do I get up there? Blah, blah. And I'm running around and I'm doing it. And it must have been like 20 minutes of trying to problem solve this level to figure out how to do it. And I couldn't do it. And then finally, like, Luce walked in the room and she watched for a little bit. She's like, what exactly is going on? I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get over there. Like, she's like, did you get the thing on the altar? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, you're done here. I was like, oh, great. Well, would have loved to have known that rather than waste this time, like run it back up there. And then, like, again, I'm going to continue to spoil stuff as I go for, again, not huge things, but whatever, and to your point of like, and I know I barely scratch the surface of Bloodborne, but it is the same thing you're talking about where the game, it has such a, this legacy and reputation for being hard. I'm not having that. Like, I don't think it's hard. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's challenging for sure. And it is like, oh, when I fucking lose to a boss, I'm like, should have dodge rolled there. Should have had more of this. That's on me. I could have blunderbussed there and blocked him or, got him into a weak state there. It isn't. So there's a challenge to it, but it is very much interesting as I play through to being like, oh, like, this is such a JRPG of run into something. Oh, I'm not doing shit damage to you. So I'm going to fuck off the other way, grind out these enemies. Oh, I found another optional boss, grind that person, and then come back and just whip your ass. Cause that's how it went with Vicar Amelia, where, I ran in there. I think I fought her maybe twice, maybe 3 times. And I was just like, oof, I'm just not getting damage done. And I know that, she's in the center of that cathedral and there's branching sides each way. So I came out and I went to I was coming out, I went right. And that goes into that woods with all the gunmen or whatever. And then into a different down area. Like, so I just burrowed and burrowed and burrowed. And by the time I was like, all right, time to come back out of that, I went and just beat the shit out of her. You know what I mean? Like, no problem. And I was like, oh, well, I get how this game works. And it was the same thing to the right side where there were the 2 dudes that are look like they're hunters, and one of them has like a taser weapon. That was the first time I've seen like an electrified weapon he was using on me. And they beat the shit out of me the first time I ran into them, but when I came back hours later, fucking clowned them out, no problem. And so, but then so I get that, and I like that about it. But then it also does the thing where it works against it, where I got beat the vicar, and I might be getting some of this wrong or whatever, but stick with me. Beat the vicar, right? And that's when the next cutscene plays. And then I was like, all right, cool. Well, clearly now I'm strong enough to take out those guys and go down there. I did those guys and went down there. And I think it ends with a locked door or whatever, or something else. Or maybe there's an enemy down there I can't fight. I don't remember off the top of my head. But so whatever happened, I'm like, oh, this isn't the right way. This isn't going to actually advance it. Like, I knew I was at a dead end in terms of like, fuck, where do I went back up. I ran around. I hadn't, the Bloodstarved Beast I had heard about, and I had it, but then they're like, it's an Old Yarnum. I'm like, I thought I did everything in Old Yarnum. So I went to the IGN guide, which is just paragraphs and paragraphs of text, because there's like no easy way to be like, you do this, then you do that. And I was like, oh, it's in Old Yarnum. And it turns out that there's this like fucking staircase there that's just so dark I didn't see. I was like, all right, cool. So I ran down there. But it was also like while I'm here, what the fuck am I really supposed to do? Because that's an optional boss. And it's like, now you know the password for that door because the cutscene told you the password when it didn't. I was like, oh, well, I was listening to Hamilton. And like they were talking about Jeremy or some shit. I didn't realize that. I'm like, that makes sense. Okay. And then I had that moment though of like, wait, where the fuck's that locked door? That locked door was like X amount of hours ago. I don't fucking remember where that is. And it's like that kind of shit where it's just like, I get the idea behind it. I get the game they want it to be of like, there are secrets and you should talk to your friends, and maybe you read a guide. Maybe you don't. Maybe you remember all this stuff. Maybe you want to go, you remember it in this area. And it's like, I get all that. And I'm not saying I need the Ubisoft, here's a dotted yellow line, that goes exactly where you need to be, but just a fucking like Resident Evil map, you know what I mean?
like
that had like a red line. So I remember that door is locked and I know there's something there. I've explored that far would be nice.
Yeah, like that it takes me back to like Jedi Fallen Order's map where that game was very playable, even though it had a lot of qualities of a Souls-like because that map helped out so much. Yeah. And like Bloodborne feels like in some ways it kind of wants to be Metroidvania-y, not in the way that like you gain new abilities and all that shit, but in the way that the map's laid out and how you kind of want to return and go back and explore these different paths and see where these paths take you. Because I was in a similar boat where I went through Old Yarnum and like struggled through that area for like a couple days and got to the Bloodstarved Beast and did all that stuff. And I did not realize it was optional. And so I beat the Bloodstarved Beast and I was like, oh, that's it. All right, cool. And like, I'm not mad I did it because either way, I would have ended up doing it. But like, any sort of not even linearity, but like a nudge in the right direction or to know which path is the critical path would help. Because right now, even in Sekiro, I have like 3 different paths I'm on right now that I'm switching back and forth from because like at a certain point there are a couple of forks in the road and like I'm pretty sure I know which one is the critical path because it seems like the one that's most important for what my mission as the main character is. But even then I'm like, okay, well that one has kind of come to this weird end that I'm trying to figure out. And then I have another path I'm going on here that takes me back to the Harada estate and like I'm making my way through that and now I'm like fighting Lady Butterfly, whereas over here I'm making my way up a mountain and like I don't know what the purpose is of like 2 of these paths, but I'm just taking them just cuz.
Just got to do it.
Yeah, and like any sort of help there would be cool, even though I'm with you that I understand the game that they're making, right? Like they're trying to build this world that is full of mystery, full of the unknown. And, once I get to the end of one path, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to realize that, oh, this is now cluing me into what this part of the world was. Wow, that's really cool. And like when I get there, that's going to be awesome. But I totally feel your frustration as far as, yeah, it'd be nice to like not be lost all the time. And that's like what helped me a lot when I was playing with Imran and other folks nudging me in the right direction.
And that's why it's one of the reasons I think I like playing on stream so much is that it's still giving because it is that thing that I love the gameplay of Bloodborne. I love engaging in both enemies I've never seen before. And then, after I did Vicar Amelia, I needed pretty much all my vials back. And I was like, I know I could probably grind somewhere here, but I'll just go back to that area we did on stream on day 1. And, just running back there and coming back for the first time in a couple hours and just, just destroying everything, especially to run into things that had given me a challenge before. And I'm taking out wolves and I'm taking out giants and it's no big issue, right? I like that feeling. I enjoy that empowerment. And it's that interesting thing of that area from so long ago is still so, okay, I know what to do and where to go because I ran different routes on it. Whereas again, I'm just going to end up Googling it, whatever, where that locked door is, I don't know you know what I mean? Like I was already into a new area and I ran into a dead end where I needed a password and I clicked on it. It's like, you don't know the password. I'm like, all right. And I fucked off and I don't remember where that is exactly. And it's like, that is not a game breaking thing. This is not it ruins my enjoyment of the game or anything shit like that. It's just like one of those, like the small things. There's like, all right, like I don't like opening the walkthrough. I don't like having to go in there and look at it. Right. And especially for something like, it's not that I'm being challenged by a character or a boss and I have no idea how to beat it. I'm sure that'll come. But it is instead just like, well, I'm this badass hunter and I have no fucking idea where I left my car. You know, like, where the fuck I can clear out everything, but am I even in the right area of the map to get back to what I need to? All right, figure it out. Yeah. But I'm enjoying it. Like I do want to play more. I'm excited to see it through.
Dude, the first boss, or like not the first boss, one of the early bosses I've encountered in Sekiro is this guy named I think it's Genichiro. And he's been described to me as Sekiro's quote unquote father Gascoigne. And I was like, okay, I've played these games now. I know what I'm getting into. And like, I think I figured out the flow of the combat. And that dude beat my ass a lot. Like in the way that in Bloodborne, I didn't have much issue with bosses outside of the final boss of the main game and then the final boss of the DLC.
Sure.
Dude, fucking Sekiro, Genichiro kicked my ass. And I came around, like it took me like a full day, maybe a day and a half to like actually beat him. And that was such a satisfying thing for me. But I off of that, I wanted to ask you, like, have you been feeling that satisfaction of killing bosses and like feeling like how much do you like the combat system in the game?
I love the combat system, and
Okay.
yes, I've had that satisfaction of beating them. But I like it because I feel it's the appropriate level of challenge for it, right? And I look at I scroll back up to look at my list of beaten bosses, right? And like I thought the Witch of Hemwick was such a great example, where it was that I go in there. Spoilers for this whole fight, not that it's a big one, it's optional. You go in there and like I'm in the fog or whatever. Cool. One of the big hairy like weird lanky dudes with the sickle comes at me. I beat his ass, and then like this little pink thing goes, and another one pops, and they kill him, and another one goes. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. Kill them, start running around, find her who's not a threat at all, just slash at her. She goes, and you keep doing it. And then I fucking beat her and I'm like, got it. And then the second life bar comes up and I'm like, motherfucker, there's another witch to fight. Okay. But it was that motherfucker of like, you cheeky bastard. Like that's good. I like that a lot. Like I do love those initial fights with them, figuring out what they're going to do, right? What's the next wave going to be? What is their attack? Right now with the Bloodstarved Beast, again, like, to go in there and be like, all right, I was doing really well, I thought, on my first thing, not even, really knowing what's going on. And then to get poisoned, it was like, okay, here's the rub, right? And then trying to figure out, I've never been poisoned. I guess I have actually, but I've never noticed it in any real way. It's never actually been a threat. And this time it's such a threat. So it's like, fuck. And then it's like, all right, I really have to counter you and get off the critical attacks. What do they call it? I forget.
Oh, the viscerals.
Viscerals. I got to get in there and get that done or whatever. So like, it's like, a new way to fight that thing very specifically. But then again, to my point, not that I hate it by any stretch of imagination, but it sucks to be like, man, I got it and I can't wait to do this again. All right, to Google who drops antidote. Cause I can't, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I have a save right outside of the door. I got to go do this again. And again,
you can buy wash at the Back in Hunter stream.
Sure, but I can get it for free if I grind it. And like it's one hand washes the other, right? Where I go and I grind for the antidote, but I'm also getting the echoes, so I'm actually going to end up leveling up my stuff. Yeah, because that's the thing of going in there. I love going in and talking to the doll, leveling up my stats, coming back and actually feeling that change, like I was talking about for the other thing. And enemies who have not stopped me, but I was like, all right, you know what? Clearly I'm not leveled for you appropriately. To double back and fight them, I do dig. But yeah, it's this weird pacing issue, but it is all that said, I still want to play it. Like I still want to get back to it tonight. You know what I mean? I still want to do more with it. But it is also that thing that I do worry of. As much as I am enjoying it, I do feel like if there was another game that dropped that I was like, oh shit, this is what I want to play, I would bounce.
Yeah, you'd be
down
to drop it.
Like it's clearly not the same as I would after playing an hour of it, where I was like, I get what Bloodborne is, and reading and listening. And now that I've played it, I'm like, I get what Bloodborne is and I enjoy it, but it's similar of like, Barrett, while we're here, let's talk about hashtag PSILOVEPHOTOMODE. All right. Each and every week, we ask you to go out and capture your best images in photo mode for any PlayStation game. Then you tweet you tweet the hashtag PSILOVEPHOTOMODE. We run through, we pick our favorites, we give out a winner, right? I picked last time to do Bloodborne. If you want to go through, Barrett, if you're ready, the first runner up here is that dude Cam. This beautiful shot, I thought, of the hunter going up these steps. This is an area I don't believe I've been to. Yeah, no, I have not been here for sure. And I just love the colors of it and the way they pop and what's going on. That's Cameron Wick on Twitter. Put that one out. If you want to go to the next one here from so loading on my screen, you got it. Nick, aka Royak. Yeah, it's Yank. So Royank. But Nick is who I'm going to say. Quote, leave the hunting to the hunters, to me, Eileen the Crow. And this is just great one, framing with the sickle of Eileen and the sun over there. I thought that was a really good one. But then to my point, what I was driving at a second ago, the winner here comes from Grady. Has this joke been made yet? And it's just a black screen with the Bloodborne Platinum popping. It had not been made yet, Grady, and I thought that was hilarious. So I put it there, right? Because that's how I feel. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, because I obviously haven't looked ahead in my trophies because I don't want to spoil anything for myself. Blessing, Bloodborne is an obtainable platinum. It seems like, can I get it on one playthrough? Like, I don't like when you can double back, right? So you know better than me if I beat the game, if it immediately puts me into like, now it's a new game plus, like there's auto save, there's nothing.
Yeah, you'll have to like fuck with the saves a bit because basically there are multiple endings you can get. But once you beat the game, it immediately puts you in a new game plus. And so basically you'll want to like get to the point before you can beat the game and then create a save, whether it's a cloud save or if you do what I did, I got a USB and put my save on there because I did not want to fuck that up. But you can get those endings in one playthrough and then keep on going and do all the other required stuff. And it seems very attainable. The one thing I'm not positive on is the chalice dungeons, because I haven't touched those.
Sure.
And it seems like there are trophies attached to that, and that seems like those seem like they might be a bit difficult, but still attainable.
Yeah, for me, it's like that's all there, and I know like a Brian got the platinum and stuff, and it's like that thing where I from what I've played and how I've been playing and stuff, like I'm excited to beat it. Like I'm not excited to go back and platinum it, but again, maybe like what you're talking with Sekiro and how your Bloodborne playthrough went too. Like maybe as I continue to do this, it will click in a different way where I am anxious to go back and do that or whatever and have that. So it's this weird thing right now where I'm still early in the game, right? When I put up one of the last bosses I beat on Twitter, somebody's like, "Oh, you're a fourth of the way through the game." So like, there's more to do and lots happening still. But I get it, I get it, and I'm in it. But it's also like, man, DC Universe Online's 10 today. I need to get in there. I need to go claim my reward and see what's up, and then who knows what happens from there. But yeah,
the biggest compliment I could probably even give Sekiro and Bloodborne with my playthroughs right now is within like these first few months of the year, there are like a few games that I'm very much looking forward to, right? Hitman 3 is like one of my most anticipated games. Then also like I think Persona 5 Strikers is out next month. And like if we got codes for either of those games, it's during my playthrough of Sekiro, I'd probably be like, fuck man, I really just want to keep playing Sekiro. Which is like that's the highest compliment I can
That is a high compliment.
With how much I'm enjoying it right now. And so like it definitely got its hooks in me in a way that I did not anticipate. I'm very excited to see you continue to play and see where that goes, because like I think the base game for me, I loved after being the base game, but the DLC really took it up a notch in a way that I wasn't expecting. I'd be excited to like see you play through the DLC too, but I also wouldn't say that you should if you finish Bloodborne and you're like, okay, cool, that was awesome, but like not my biggest jam. I wouldn't necessarily say you need to play the DLC by any means, but
sure,
if you get there, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, we'll keep seeing as we roll on with Bloodborne month here. Of course, never too late to join us, ladies and gentlemen. Jump on that train. Bloodborne. You can play it right now. Of course, if you got that PlayStation 5, you got that PlayStation Plus collection. Go and get it there. Blessing, before we transition over to trophies and chill here, what is your photo mode request for next week?
Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I like there's not really anything particular this week that's going on, so I figured, why not do probably my favorite photo mode in the game, because Ghost of Tsushima's photo mode was fantastic, and I've seen a lot of wonderful art in the last, I guess, half year of that game being out. And so give me your best Ghost of Tsushima photo modes. Hashtag PSILOVEPHOTOMODE.
For now, we go to trophies and chill. This, of course, is where one of you writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames, giving us your PSN name and why you want us to look at your trophies. Today, it's Keenan Delaney who writes in and says, 2020 was a big year for trophies for me. I managed to get 32 platinums throughout the year. My goal for 2021 is 100 plats by the end of the year. If you want to follow along as we look at trophies, it's Mantis MD94 over on psnprofiles.com. And right there at the top, we're playing that Maneater. I've seen a lot of people talking about Maneater again. Granted, PlayStation Plus, I understand why.
Yeah.
Did you get into Maneater? Did you ever play Maneater?
No, I never booted it up. I don't even think I've seen gameplay of Maneater. It's just one that I've heard people talk about. Yeah, I know you play as a shark, and you played it. You talked about it on the show.
I hear Snowbike Mike and Jared Petty talk about it all the time, I feel like.
Yeah, Jared Petty really liked that game.
I started it and played a couple hours or whatever that first night we did a PS I Love You stuff on it. Like, it was one of those very much like, oh, okay, cute. Like, it just wasn't like enough to keep me around, but I know that I'm in the minority of people who played it. I know people really
it's an action. It's a game, right? Like, it's not Goat Simulator.
No, yeah. You have objectives. You're leveling up. You have enemies to go do. There's challenges and stuff. Yeah.
If it was Goat Simulator, I would be more inclined to play it because.
Oh, really? This is like it's a shark PG. I think is what they call it. It's an RPG where you're the shark, so you're leveling and doing stuff. Yeah.
It's more. Is it more of a game than Untitled Goose Game?
Is it more of what?
Is it like more of like when you say it's a shark PG, it sounds like there are more games.
Oh yeah, there's more going on than Untitled Goose Game. Yeah.
Okay. If I'm gonna play as an animal, I just want to fuck around.
You're leveling up and you're getting different, like you're getting electric teeth or whatever kind of teeth you want to put in and shit like that. Yeah. Like there's choices you're making. What are you gonna say, Barrett?
They actually got the Cyberpunk platinum. Good for them.
Yep, I saw that. Yeah, Resident Evil 3 is the latest platinum, and then right before that was Cyberpunk 2077. I'm very much Red Skull and like fucking Infinity War there. You seek, you have what is it? You're here seeking what I cannot have, or whatever the fucking quote was. It was good, and I fucked it up. Sorry. Only 13 trophies in Marvel's Avengers was just an embarrassment. But you got a platinum in Demon Souls PS5. An embarrassment. Embarrassment.
That seems like a very equal amount of trophies.
Let's see. Let me
Seems
just
like
drop
more
off.
trophies than most people got in that game, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Demon Souls, you got platinum there on PS5. Spider-Man Remastered PS5. Bugsnax PS5. These are all platinums. Great job. Sackboy 23 of 46. Then you got
we were all like singing that song every week.
Bugsnax. We can still do a weekly Bugsnax sing along.
No,
if you really want to.
Bugsnax was a 2020 game. We have to let it stay in 2020.
Now here's another insult. 6 trophies in Everybody's Golf. Come on.
Everybody's Golf. I don't feel like I was popping a lot of trophies in Everybody's Golf, and
no, it's not. It's very
meticulous.
What do you call it? Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. Stingy. You know what I mean? They're not just giving them out.
Until Dawn, got like probably
Platinum.
had to get all the fucking endings and shit, right?
Yeah.
They did that in 1 day and 2 hours. Jeez.
Wait, now hold on a second. Road Bustle got the platinum in 9 minutes and 4 seconds.
What? Look it up, Greg.
I'm looking at it right now. It's just score some points. All right. Well, I'm definitely looking into that. Don't worry about that. We're looking into it. I'm leaving that one open on
Persona
my
5 Royal, much respect. In 3 weeks.
Got the platinum in an hour and 35 minutes.
Which one?
Inksplosion.
Oh, dude, no. I don't fuck with Explosion. Explosion, I had installed and I started, and I was like, I hate this. This isn't even worth it for me. I'm not even gonna do it. Goodbye. But I respect you did it. Psychonauts, Jack 2. There's a whole bunch of great platinums on here. Last of Us Part 2, SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom.
That's a good platinum right there. It's a little. There's like a little grinding for like currency.
Did you get it?
Oh yeah. I got it on stream last year.
Nice.
There was like I had to put like 2 hours into like collecting like the currency in that game.
Yeah.
But that was like pretty much it, and then just like play the rest of the story stuff.
And then of course Bloodborne platinum. There it is. Good. Congratulations. Mantis MD 94.
Holy shit! Hold on. So like, wait, where are you seeing Bloodborne?
On the game.
It was
yeah,
because like
it's higher up.
Okay. Well, the crazy thing is like,
Control F.
like Last of Us Part 2, SpongeBob, Crash, Warped, Uncharted 3, and then just like this whole list are all games that they've platinumed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy fuck, you've platinumed a lot of games.
Hell yeah. Yeah, right now, if you're wondering how close they are to getting their 100th platinum, they're at 84. So you are very much in the obtainable area for 100. Don't worry about that. And thank you for telling me about Road Bustle. Remember, you can write into patreon.com/kindafunnygames if you want your PSN profile dug into. Of course, that's where you can ask us questions. Of course, that's where you can get the post show we are about to record. Because this is PS I Love You XOXO. Blessing and I get together each and every week, nerd out about all things PlayStation. You like that? You come hang out with us. We have a great time. Isn't that right? Mark Freeman in the chat. Roman Waters in the chat. Hype for Games in the chat. That was a great Mark Freeman impression. I didn't know we had him on Discord. There he was. That was Mark right there. Blessing, did you have some fun today?
I had a lot of fun today.
Good. I'm glad. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a post show to do, but until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.